Okay, so now with Heaven Will Urza already in the game, being the first, let's say, festival character in this game, I am gonna take a quick look at some of the other future festival characters, so you guys can take a look at the kit to see how good they are, compare with Urza, and also kind of just ultimately decide which character do you want to summon for. Because this banner is very, very expensive, like both for the whales who want to pay real money, or for the free to play. Like this currency is just hard to get. So you definitely want to make an informed decision so you know exactly who do you want to go for. And that's kind of why I have went around the internet just digging up some obviously all of those articles I'm able to find, they're all in Chinese, but I'll use Google Chrome to translate them to English, but there will probably be some translation errors, etc. But anyway, we can take a look at some of the animations and also their kit. So just you guys kind of know exactly what you are expecting in the future, and then you can make an informed decision about which festival character do you want to actually summon for. Now, out of all the festival characters that has been released in the Chinese version, I believe there are only five in total. So there's Gray, there is Natsu, and there are also Minerva, and then obviously there's the Urza and Meridian who are already in the game, but you can't really see their kit, so I'm not gonna go through them because you can check that out yourself. There are a few other characters I am able to find in the Chinese version, namely Jura and also Loki or Leo. Those two are also in the Chinese version of the game, but not in global. But they're not festival characters, so you probably don't need to worry too much about them. If you're interested in them, I can also potentially dig out some article for their kit, just so you guys also know what to expect. But the main one, I guess you guys really care about, would be the festival character because, like I said, the currency is a lot more limited here. So you really do want to make the right decision. What is the decision you are gonna feel happy about? Okay, so out of the three which are upcoming, unfortunately, I'm not able to find anything on Natsu. I did find an article on Natsu, but it's only talking about the event that Natsu is going to be released with, which is, to be honest, just not really too much. I think he was released on Chinese New Year, so there was like a whole different type of events just for that festival period. But obviously, that probably won't apply to global, so there isn't really any useful thing I can show you for Natsu. Unfortunately, if you are actually a Chinese version player or Chinese server player, or you meant to find some article on Natsu, then please do share with me. I'm quite intrigued to see exactly what is going to be his kit as well. But I did manage to find a pretty comprehensive guide, well, not guide, but just an article with animations on the skills for both Gray and also Minerva. So let's go through both of them together now. So for Gray, first of all, he is gonna be an agility character. He's gonna be a physical attacker, and he's gonna be of ice attribute. I think ice attribute is gonna be make it interesting because that actually means he overlap with Urza in kind of this festival character department. So I guess you can think of him being the main competitor to Urza. If you do need to decide to summon on someone for festival with that ice coverage. Now his first skill, uh, three attacks cause some amount of physical attack and also ice damage. Nothing more than that, to be honest. A pretty plain vanilla attack. If you take a look at the attack, he kind of moves forward and he knocks back the enemy slightly backwards. The cooldown is 8 seconds, so okay, that's pretty quick to be honest. Although I'm not sure why that's because it's a reduced cooldown from some other behaviors, but if we actually take it as it is, 8 second cooldown is actually very very fast. That's really nice to see. His second attack, physical attack, ice damage again, adding a stun to in the last attack only for 0.5 seconds, which is fairly standard for stun. Stun normally doesn't last very long. Cooldown is 18 seconds, so this is a bit more longer. Once again, nothing too crazy to be honest. Like a lot of character would be able to do some kind of like stun with their kit, so nothing too crazy here. Third attack, add a damage reduction for 3.2 second. Okay, that's nice. 45% damage reduction. So that's actually really high. That's really high, really high. I don't know whether this will get increased even further, but let's see. Causes some kind of damage. Point ice attribute. Okay, you can see the translation is quite bad here. When the enemy hit has 15 or more layer of ice chips, each attack will cause the enemy to suffer an additional. Okay, so basically, I guess he's probably going to be similar. Like, there's probably something later on where he's able to inflict this kind of ice chip status or debuff, which then basically allow his skill 3 to do even more damage. So I guess his skill 3 is the main damage dealing attack. Just take a look at his cooldown. So his skill 3 is 18-second cooldown. That's pretty decent. So basically he has two skills which are both 18-second cooldown. And by the sound of this, this has actually really high damage output potentially, and also damage reduction for pretty much by for almost by half for 3.2 seconds. So that's actually really nice. Then skill 4, ice power. Create a larger number of spiral ice crystal causing damage, wide range. Okay, so you can see AoE range is pretty big. Invincibility for 2.2 seconds, so that's also nice. 100% hit rate. Okay, so I guess he is actually going to be really good if you ever face up against, let's say, Razor or Cobra in PvP. So that's potentially one particular use of Gray just for that. Okay, cooldown's 40 seconds. Okay, that's a really, really long cooldown. So this is probably not something you'll be using a lot. But I guess out of all the base kits I'm seeing right now, I really like skill 3. 18-second cooldown is not that bad, and you have a 45% damage reduction, which is really nice. Plus, potentially an insane amount of damage. Let's see how we actually get this ice chips in. Passive skill, when he's captain, he will add an ice attack boost for himself. 15% can be stacked every 30 seconds. Okay, 15% is not that high. If I remember Jalal's kit. Actually, I don't know whether this is the one you get naturally at 4 star, or whether this is the enhanced version when he's at like 5 star or 6 star, etc. But I do remember, for example, I think Jalal has a much bigger buff, which is going to be a lot more than 15%, if I remember correctly. But that can't be stacked. So I guess what you are seeing from Gray is that his initial boost is not that high, but he's gonna be a character who really benefit as the battle goes on, so he get more and more attack buff on top of himself. 30 seconds is not that bad. Normally a battle I think lasts about a minute to a minute and a half. So that basically means you can potentially get 2 or 3 stack. So if you do get 3 stack, 45% input, that's actually pretty decent. So yeah, so I think this one is good, but only if you're able to make Gray work in kind of like a long lasting battle. I guess that's kind of the main trick to it. Then you have the other passive, which is okay. So this one was the ice chip. So whenever his skill or basic attack hits an enemy, 22% chance of adding ice chips, which decrease ice defense and can be stacked 15 times. Okay, so basically, first of all, the ice chip by itself already reduced the enemy ice defense, which basically means Gray is probably going to work in an ice team, on an ice team. So, for example, with Juvia or with the R version of Gray or Leon, I think he would work quite well. So, or with Urza, for example, because he is able to reduce the enemy ice defense. Can be stacked for 15 times with only 22% chance each hit. So that basically means probability wise, if you want to stack to 15 times, you need to hit 45 times, roughly. 45 times, imagine every hit, either normal attack or skills, they take 1 second to execute. So that basically means, once again, for Gray to really work, you're kind of looking at 45 seconds onwards in a battle. So once again, I think Gray really works for battle which would potentially last for a while. So kind of long sustaining battles. And obviously this is a 45% ice reduction on top of whatever buff he's gonna get from his skill 3. So the damage output can be actually quite crazy. This doesn't also doesn't seem to expire, which is very, very nice as well. So okay, so I do think this passive is quite good, but only if you can make Gray last that long in the battle. Then last one, this one, I think this is the unique one you only get when he's 6 star or higher. So the first level is gonna be when Ice Power Gray into the battle, he get damage reduction by 15%. Okay, so that's quite nice. There's no condition with dependency, just straight flat 15% damage reduction. That's quite nice. Seven Dance of Ice Blade. Which one's that? Okay, so that's skill three. Um, when it hits an enemy with ice chips, each time it causes damage, the cooldown will reduce by 1 second. Okay, so I don't know how many times, but it says seven consecutive times. I'm gonna guess seven times. So potentially you can remove the cooldown by 7 seconds. Cooldown for this hit is 18 seconds if I remember correctly. So you're then talking about cooldown for 11 seconds, which is actually really nice because then he actually get damage reduction for 3.2 seconds as well. So even though you are doing like an 11-second cooldown attack, you are immune to damage for 3 seconds. So basically, there's now only going to be like eight. Sorry, not damage immune to damage, but damage reduction for 3 seconds. So that basically only gives you a gap of 8 seconds when you take kind of full damage. So that makes him potentially able to survive a bit longer, which is kind of what he needs because he really want all of his buff and also debuff to stack up. Then on the last level, normal when attacked. Okay, when normal attack and skill hits enemy with ice shards, there's a 24% chance of adding a frozen state for 1.3 seconds. Enemy frozenness have invasion reduced by 100%. Okay, so he's going to be really good up against dodge teams, etc. Hit enemy with ice shards. Okay, I guess that's probably all of his attacks. So basically, every single time when he attack, there is like a 24% chance of freezing the enemy. Because it kind of says it's triggered whenever. Yeah, there's no condition. You just need to hit them with normal attack. So okay, fine. Once again, I think I kind of get the main gameplay behind Gray now. So I think what Gray is really trying to do, if I have to summarize it, is that he has damage reduction, um, through his skill three, and also from his kind of passive skill. As soon as he into the battle, he is then also able to have some invincibility. All of this is trying to make him survive longer, and on top of that, he also able to freeze the enemy every now and then. So once again, increase his survivability. And the reason why you want to increase his survivability is because he can then stack up his buff and also stack up his kind of ice chip debuff, so that your whole team do a lot more ice damage. And also Gray obviously also gets stronger because he also increases attack by potentially 75%, which is crazy actually. So yeah, so that's kind of the main idea for Gray. You kind of want to play him in kind of like a long sustaining battle where he actually have the time to build up of his buff and debuff. So yeah, so very nice. How do I think he is gonna compare to Urza, who's the other ice character? I think they're pretty similar because I think Urza also need to survive long enough in the battle to stack up a bit more damage. Just looking at the kit by itself, I think like Gray is potentially able to survive a bit longer purely because there's a bit more damage reduction built in, but Urza probably gonna have a bit more crazy damage. Actually, no, that's not true because Gray is able to increase the team's damage as well. So I don't know if I just have to compare Urza and Gray. Right now, I'm leaning towards Gray. I mean, obviously the character's not out, so it's hard to judge exactly how he will perform. But purely looking at the kit, I think I prefer Gray a tiny bit more. I think he is able to survive a bit longer, help the team out a bit more if you play a mono ice team. So yeah, so overall, I think he's probably going to be a slightly better choice than Urza, but there's probably not much difference between the two. And also considering Gray, I think it's the latest out of the five characters to be released. So there's actually a long window between Urza and Gray. So if you do actually need a festival character with that ice coverage, then I think just go for Urza. There's nothing wrong with that. Gray may be potentially better, but there's a massive long waiting time that you have to take into consideration for that. Okay, the Nasu, like I said, I couldn't find anything on the kit, unfortunately. Then Minerva, let's start off with skill 1. Uh, Huge impact forward, causing physical attack. Oh wait, first of all, what type of character is he? He's almighty. Also, that's versatile character, physical attack, and also wind damage. Okay, fine, that's nice. Skill 1, cause X% of physical attack, wipe. Okay, wind damage. Additional 25% of Minerva's health as wind attribute. Wait, is that right? That's crazy. 25% of her HP. I mean, I don't know what's her HP stats, but normally, I don't expect her HP to be so fragile that it's a lot lower than other characters. So if I take this into PvP consideration, I would expect most characters HP stats to be fairly similar. Like you wouldn't see one character's HP being like 10 times more than the other character. So if she is gonna deal an additional damage equal to 25% of her own HP, that basically means you're chucking away 25% of the enemy HP straight away with just a skill one. 12-second cooldown as well, so that's not that even that long. I mean, I guess because it's her HP, I'm guessing that means her current HP rather than her maximum HP. So that probably means that as the battle goes on, she would do less and less damage with her skill one. But still, straight. If this is the first skill you start off in the battle, that's a straight 25% enemy HP that you're just deleting straight up. That can be. I actually think this is very very strong for skill one as well. 12-second cooldown, so that's very impressive. Um, Teleport forward, use her whirlwind to attack, then move back. Okay, so you can see her jump forward, attack, then move back. Okay, that's nice. 12-second cooldown as well. Okay, so the cooldown period is not that long. Not much additional benefit. I guess the main thing here is that she's able to create that distance. So potentially that's quite useful for her if you want to like run around the battlefield and try to avoid attacks or create some distance to. I'm gonna assume her normal attack is a range attack, in which case it's gonna be quite nice to have that safe distance if you're up against kind of like a short range attacker. Skill 3. Imprison the target in space by herself, causing physical attack, wind damage, space lock. Ignore the immune control effect. Make the enemy trapped and unable to perform any action for 2 times. Okay, so this is interesting. So this is a control effect which ignores enemies' immune control. So that's actually going to be really nice. I think mainly for PvP. I think for sorry, I think for normal PvP where you can actually control the character, this is going to be really nice because you are, for example, even if the enemy have like Mystigan, who is probably like the biggest counter to control attacks, you can still control Mystigan even when he puts out his kind of like a control immunity barrier. So that's going to be really nice. If you are in PvP up against character, you know when they are going to perform immunity control attack. This is actually a safeguard way for you to actually make sure that you still kind of just immobilize them for a short while. Peak Arena, I think, is the one we kind of need to see the order she released her skills. And you kind of need to match that up to when the enemy may be doing it. So, for example, Mystigan release his control immunity by using his first skill first, the control immunity skill first. However, I don't know when Minerva is going to use her skill 3. If she happened to match up the timing of when she used skill 3 with when the enemy use like a control immunity ability, then I think that could be very, very powerful. But yeah, overall, I think like this is a very, very good skill. Also very unique. At least right now, out of all the kit I'm able to see, I think this is the first one that's able to ignore the immune control immunity. So I think this is a very very nice skill to have kind of in your back pocket for whatever scenarios. Okay, now skill 4. Teleport forward, continuous attack, detonate the space, continuous explosion. That's just okay. I don't know why she just showing us this photo or video when there's like no enemy around, but you can see the range is pretty big, I guess. When the skill is cast, it will add a total defense boost to itself by 29.5% for 4 seconds. Okay, so the timing is not as long as what we are able to see on. No, the time is longer than what we're able to see on Grey. I think Grey is for 3.2 seconds, but that one was like almost 50% damage reduction. This one's only 30%, so slightly worse version of damage reduction. Cooldown period is 24 seconds, so it's It's not bad for skillful because normally skillful have really long cooldown. But okay, I mean I don't think there's anything too crazy about this skill. Let's see her passive. Well, she's a leader. Damage reduction. It's added to all magicians in the team. 15%. Okay, that's nice. It's simple, but it's very strong. 15% flat damage reduction for the whole team. That's pretty good. Um, when Minerva casts Space Link and Explosion Space, there's a house lasting 4 seconds. Wait, so Explosion Space is skill 4. Space Link is skill 2. Okay, so when she casts skill 2 or skill 4, there's going to be some kind of status effect which is called health, which I have no idea what it means. I'm guessing recover HP or something, but okay, fine. It's a bit annoying with this translation. The passive when she's at 6 star, when Minerva obtains the Guardian Space status. What's Guardian Space? Oh, it must be just passive Guardian Space. Guardian Space, maybe. When she obtains the Guardian Space status, I guess this is probably the health status. She will also get an anti-crisis boost mode. Anti-crisis rate. Anti. Oh, is this crit rate? I'm gonna guess it's a crit rate. I may be making a bit of a jump here, but I think it's probably anti crit rate increased by 20%, lasting for 4 seconds. That probably makes sense. Minerva's own Guardian Space will appear every time when she recover HP. Uh, all enemies on the target cause 25%. When Minerva casts explosions, honestly, I have no idea what this translation is really bad. Unfortunately, I have no idea what this is trying to say. But I'm gonna guess it's something like when she use skill 2 or skill 4, she is gonna create a status effect, which is gonna do something with HP. I'm gonna guess maybe like a healing effect for 4 seconds. During that time, she's also gonna get anti crit rate by 20%. And whenever she recover HP under this status effect, enemy will lose 25% of their HP. Yeah, I think that makes sense. I might be making this up, but that's kind of my yeah, I mean, if I have to read this and interpret it as what I'm seeing, I think that's probably how I'm going to read it. And then when Minerva casts Explosion Space, so that's skill 4, she will receive a rebound state, reflecting 30% of damage received, lasting 4 seconds. Okay, I think she's really strong. I think she sounds like she is more of like a bulkier character because she have a bit of built-in damage reduction, like 15% damage reduction, and then she have a bit of damage reduction built in her kit as well. And she kind of relies on doing almost like a scaling damage on her own HP. So I think that's probably how you want to build her. I think you want to build her with HP so she benefit from that damage reduction, but also she would be able to deal like 25% of her HP back as damage, which is really strong. She can also just delete 25% of enemies' HP when she recovers health under the status effect, which is also strong, and she can also rebound. So I think she's one of those characters which kind of just rely on herself to survive, and then just constantly chipping away the damage when she's surviving the enemy attacks, etc. So I think she's very strong. I do feel like out of her and also Gray and also Mary Jane and Urza, so the four characters I'm able to see the kit. Unfortunately, I don't have Nasu, so I don't know how to compare Nasu against the others. But out of the four I'm seeing so far, I think Minerva is probably the one I am leaning towards the most, purely because this skill one is just ridiculous. I don't know whether there's a typo. I mean, there could be a typo because some of the translation is pretty bad here. But if there's no typo, there's straight up 25% HP deletion based on skill one, something which is only 12%. Sorry, 12-second cooldown. That's just crazy in terms of attack, but damage output was. And then if you look at her other stuff, she has this very cool gimmick to ignore control immunity, which is like making her like, almost unique. And then on top of that, she has really good like captain skill as well, leader skill, a flat 15% damage reduction, which is very strong as well. So I think overall, like Minerva is probably my favorite out of the four I'm able to say. So yeah, so that's kind of my initial thoughts on this. I mean, do take everything here with a grain of salt, please, because like you can probably see here, like the translation is not perfect, and obviously without the characters actually being out and kind of testing how they perform in real life, some of this may not actually be accurate. But purely looking at the kit, I think I'm leaning towards Minerva the most right now.